The whole thing started because Jasmine Okafor couldn't speak up in class. It was a Tuesday morning in October, and Mrs. Delgado had just asked if anyone wanted to share what they'd written for their Someone Who Inspires Me essay. Jasmine's hand twitched on her desk. She'd written about Ruby Martinez, the girl who sat 2 rows over and always helped younger kids with their backpacks at the bus stop. But when Mrs. Delgado's eyes swept the room, Jasmine's hand stayed glued to her notebook. That's when she noticed she wasn't the only one. It felt like a wave that never reached the shore. Hands lifting, then falling back into the desks. Diego Reyes had half raised his hand, then quickly pretended to scratch his head. Across the room, Priya Nair was staring intently at her essay, her lips moving like she was practicing what to say. And in the back corner, Liam Fitzgerald had actually lifted his hand about 3 inches off his desk before chickening out and turning it into a weird stretch. Liam had a quiet voice and careful eyes, the kind that listened first. The bell rang before anyone volunteered, and Jasmine watched her classmates file out of room 203 at Sunnyside Middle School in Flagstaff, Arizona. She wondered how many inspiring essays would never be heard, how many compliments would die in notebooks, how many kind thoughts would stay trapped behind shy smiles. That's when she got the idea. At lunch, Jasmine usually sat alone under the big mesquite tree in the courtyard, reading whatever fantasy novel she'd checked out that week. But today, she had a mission. She spotted Diego first, sitting by himself at the end of a crowded table, drawing in his sketchbook. "Hey," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can I sit?" Diego looked up, surprised. They'd been in the same classes for 2 years, but this was maybe the 3rd time they'd ever spoken. "Sure," he said, moving his backpack. Jasmine sat down and pulled out a folded piece of paper. She'd written her idea down because she knew she'd never get the words out otherwise. She slid it across to Diego. He read it, his eyebrows rising. The paper said, "I saw you wanted to share your essay today. I wanted to share mine too, but couldn't. What if we found a way to share nice things about people without having to speak up? Like a secret club?" Diego looked at her, then pulled out his own pen. He wrote, "Yes, but how?" That's how it started, a conversation in written notes between 2 kids too shy to speak. By the end of lunch, they'd recruited Priya, who they found in the library naturally, and Liam, who was feeding crackers to birds behind the cafeteria. Their first meeting was that Thursday after school in the abandoned art room on the 2nd floor. Room 218 hadn't been used in 2 years due to budget cuts, but the door was always unlocked. The air inside smelled of chalk dust, dried clay, and the faint ghost of old paint. Afternoon light slanted through the grimy windows, illuminating dancing dust motes in the air. Dusty easels stood like skeletons in the corner. It was the kind of room where secrets could sit and breathe. For a moment, they just stood in the quiet, 4 shadows in a forgotten space. "So," Priya said, her voice soft but clear, the sound seeming loud in the stillness, "we're really doing this?" They sat in a circle on the cold linoleum floor, backpacks forming a small wall between them and the door, as if to guard their fragile new secret. Jasmine had brought a composition notebook with SCC written on the cover in purple gel pen. "Secret Compliment Club," she explained, opening to the first page where she'd written out her idea. "We write anonymous compliments to people at school. Real ones, specific ones. Not just 'you're nice,' but like what we wanted to say in class today." "But how do we deliver them?" Liam asked. He had a quiet voice with a hint of an Irish accent from his parents. "We can't just hand them to people." Diego, who'd been sketching in the margins of his notebook, held up his drawing. It showed a locker with a note slipped through the vents. "Ninja style," he said with a small grin. "We'd need to know locker numbers," Priya pointed out. She already had her phone out, typing notes. "And we'd have to be careful about cameras. The hallway by the main office has them." "What about a mailbox?" Jasmine suggested. Like, we put up a box where people can submit compliments anonymously and we deliver them? Too visible, Liam said. Teachers would take it down. They debated for an hour, voices gradually getting louder as they got more comfortable with each other. It was weird, Jasmine thought, how much easier talking became when you were planning something together. Like having a shared secret made you instant friends. Finally, Priya had the breakthrough. What if we don't need a system? What if we just start? Each of us writes one compliment this week and finds a creative way to deliver it. Then we meet back and share what worked. They agreed, and Jasmine wrote down their first official club rules. Compliments must be specific and genuine. Never reveal who wrote them. Find creative ways to deliver without being caught. Meet every Thursday in room 218 to share stories. Keep notes in safe places, never near lab gear, exits, or alarms. Unwritten Rule 6, be brave, even if it's quiet. That weekend, Jasmine spent 3 hours crafting her first note. She'd chosen Ruby Martinez, the girl from her essay. The hard part wasn't what to say. It was saying it in a way that didn't sound creepy or weird. She went through 12 drafts before settling on, "To Ruby Martinez, every morning you help the kindergartners with their backpacks at bus stop 7, even when it makes you almost late. Last Tuesday, you gave your lunch to Aiden when he forgot his. You probably think nobody notices these things, but someone does. Your kindness makes our school a better place. From someone who sees you." She printed it on nice paper she found in her mom's office and spent another hour figuring out how to fold it into an origami butterfly. YouTube helped with that part. Monday morning, she got to school 30 minutes early, her heart hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The folded origami butterfly felt both weightless and impossibly heavy in her sweaty palm. Ruby's locker was on the first floor, number 127. Jasmine had done 3 practice runs over the weekend, timing how long it took to get from the side entrance to the locker and back. 3 minutes, 42 seconds. But her practice runs hadn't accounted for the echoing squeak of Mr. Jameson's mop down by the science rooms, a sound that made her jump with every stroke. The hallway stretched before her, a long, empty canyon of potential failure. Taking a deep breath, she walked, trying to look casual. At locker 127, her fingers fumbled with the paper. She slipped the origami butterfly through the cold metal vents, and then, without looking back, speed walked away, her face burning as if a spotlight was following her. She was already at her own locker when Ruby arrived. Jasmine pretended to organize her books, watching from the corner of her eye as Ruby opened her locker and the butterfly fell out. Ruby picked it up, confused, and carefully unfolded it. Jasmine had never seen someone's face change like that while reading. It was like someone turned on a lamp inside Ruby's chest. Ruby's eyes went wide, then soft. She pressed the note to her chest and looked around the hallway, but Jasmine had already turned away, hiding her smile behind her locker door. That Thursday, the Secret Compliment Club met again in room 218, and they were all buzzing with stories. Diego had drawn a portrait of Marcus Thompson, the kid everyone called Marcus the Marvelous mockingly, because he was always messing up in gym class. But Diego's drawing showed Marcus helping his little sister with homework after school in the library, with the words, "The Real Marvelous," written in beautiful calligraphy at the bottom. He'd slipped it into Marcus's backpack during PE. "He found it during math," Diego reported, grinning. He kept looking at it and smiling. Then he asked everyone around him if they knew who drew it. Priya had taken a different approach. She'd noticed that Emily Chen always ate alone and read programming books during lunch. So Priya wrote a note about how impressed she was by Emily's coding skills and how her website for the school newspaper was amazing. But instead of a physical note, Priya had hidden it in the code of the newspaper website itself, as an HTML comment only Emily would find when she updated the site. "How do you know she found it?" Liam asked. Priya pulled up the website on her phone. There, in the source code, was a new comment under hers. "Thank you, secret friend, 3. Liam's story was the boldest. He'd written a note for Mr. Rodriguez, their math teacher, who everyone said was too strict. The note thanked him for staying after school to help struggling students and for bringing donuts during test weeks. Liam had taped it to the bottom of Mr. Rodriguez's coffee mug in the teacher's lounge. "How did you even get in there?" Jasmine asked, amazed. "I volunteer in the office during study hall," Liam said, his cheeks pink. "I waited until it was empty." They spent the rest of the meeting planning their next moves. The rush of successfully delivering their first compliments had made them braver. They decided to increase to 2 compliments each for the next week. Then something small turned big. Their small acts created ripples. Ruby Martinez, still glowing from her butterfly note, was seen the next day helping twice as many kids at the bus stop. She'd even started bringing extra granola bars for anyone who forgot breakfast. Marcus Thompson had taped Diego's drawing to his binder. When kids asked about it, he just said, "Someone thinks I'm marvelous," with a confidence nobody had heard from him before. In gym class that week, when he tripped during basketball, instead of laughing at himself like usual, he just got up and kept playing. A few kids who usually teased him stayed quiet. Emily Chen started a coding club. She announced it during morning announcements, something she'd never had the courage to do before. "Someone reminded me that skills are meant to be shared," she said into the microphone. And Mr. Rodriguez? He brought donuts that Friday. When students asked what the occasion was, he just said, "Sometimes we all need reminders that we're appreciated." The Secret Compliment Club watched these changes with a mixture of pride and amazement. They were just 4 shy kids writing notes. How was something this small making waves this big? "It's like emotional dominoes," Priya said during their 3rd meeting. She'd started keeping a spreadsheet of their compliments and the observed effects. One kindness tipped, and the next one knew what to do. Ruby helps more kids. Those kids feel good and are nicer to others, and it spreads. They were getting bolder with their delivery methods, too. Diego had started leaving small drawings with compliments in library books, tucked into the pages of books he knew certain students would check out. Jasmine had figured out how to print compliments on label paper and stick them to bathroom mirrors, water fountains, and the undersides of cafeteria tables where specific people sat. Liam had perhaps the most creative method. He helped the AV club record the morning announcements, so he knew the software. He started sliding in subtle compliments. Just quick mentions like, "Shout out to the student who picks up trash in the courtyard every day," or "Thank you to whoever's been watering the plants in the science hall." They were general enough that teachers approved them, but specific enough that the intended recipients knew. Priya had gone full tech mode. She'd created an anonymous submission form where students could submit compliments for others, which the club would then deliver. She'd shared the link by writing it on a few strategic bathroom stalls and library desks. Within a week, they were getting dozens of submissions. "We need more people," Jasmine said one Thursday, looking at the growing pile of compliment requests. "4 of us can't deliver all of these." "But if we tell more people, it won't be secret," Diego pointed out. They sat in silence, thinking. Then Liam spoke up. What if we don't recruit people to our club? What if we just inspire them to start their own?" That became their new mission, Operation Inspiration. They started leaving notes with instructions. "You've received a compliment from the Secret Compliment Club. Want to make someone else's day? Write a specific, genuine compliment and find a creative way to deliver it. Keep the kindness going." The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Within 2 weeks, compliment notes were appearing everywhere, tucked into textbooks, taped under desks, written on paper airplanes that mysteriously flew across classrooms between periods when teachers weren't looking. The janitor, Mr. Jameson, told anyone who'd listen about finding thank you notes in his supply closet. The lunch ladies discovered appreciation letters in their serving stations. But not everyone was happy about it. Vice Principal Warner called an emergency assembly the 3rd week of November. The entire middle school filed into the gymnasium, whispers bouncing off the walls. The secret compliment club sat in different sections, as always, a silent rule to protect their secret. From her spot on the bleachers, Jasmine could see Diego hunched over, nervously sketching in his notebook. She spotted Priya across the gym, typing rapidly on her phone, probably running through worst-case scenarios. And near the back, Liam was pulling at a loose thread on his sweater. "It has come to my attention," Vice Principal Warner began, his voice echoing through the speakers, "that there's been an epidemic of note passing in this school." Jasmine's stomach dropped. A wave of cold dread washed over her. Her eyes darted across the crowd and, for a fraction of a second, locked with Diego's. He gave a tiny, almost imperceptible shake of his head, a silent message of shared panic. This was it. They were caught. "Anonymous notes," he continued, "being left in lockers, in classrooms, throughout our campus. This is a serious security concern." He wasn't unkind, just worried about things slipping past the rules. But before he could finish, Principal Hawkins stepped up to the microphone. The older woman placed a gentle hand on Mr. Warner's shoulder and smiled at the assembly. "What Mr. Warner means to say," she said, her voice warm, "is that we've noticed an extraordinary change in our school over the past month. Attendance is up, bullying reports are down, teachers are reporting more class participation and better group cooperation, and yes, we've noticed the notes." She pulled out a piece of paper from her pocket. "I received one myself yesterday. It thanked me for always remembering students' names and for keeping candy in my office for bad days. I don't know who wrote it, but I want you to know it made my week." Her words fell like blankets over cold shoulders. The gymnasium was dead silent. "So while we need to be mindful of safety," Principal Hawkins continued, "and I ask that you don't leave notes anywhere that could be disruptive or dangerous, I want to say this. Kindness is never wrong. Seeing the good in others and telling them about it, that's what builds community. That's what makes a school feel like home." She paused, looking across the sea of students. "Whoever started this, thank you. You've reminded us all that sometimes the smallest acts create the biggest changes." The assembly ended with confused applause, Mr. Warner looking slightly deflated, and hundreds of students buzzing with excitement. The secret compliment club exchanged tiny smiles across the gymnasium. They'd done it. They'd actually done it. That Thursday's meeting was electric. "Did you see Mr. Warner's face?" Diego laughed, drawing a perfect caricature in his notebook. "I was so scared," Priya admitted. "I thought they'd check the cameras and trace it back to us." "Principal Hawkins saved us," Liam said. "Do you think she knows?" Jasmine shook her head. "I don't think so, but it doesn't matter. Look what we did. We changed the whole school." They spent the rest of the meeting reading through the latest submissions to Priya's anonymous form. Some were simple. "Tell Jake his saxophone playing in band is really improving." Others were profound. "Let Mrs. Anderson know that her English class saved my life. I was going through a really dark time, and the books she assigned gave me hope." They divided up the compliments and planned their delivery strategies. But as they were packing up to leave, Jasmine had a thought. "You know what's weird?" she said. "We've given out hundreds of compliments to other people, but we've never complimented each other." It felt risky in a different way, like turning a mirror around. The room got quiet. It was true. In all their meetings, they'd been so focused on their mission that they'd never turned their kindness inward. "Should we?" Priya asked hesitantly. "Not out loud," Diego said quickly. "That's too real," Liam finished. So Jasmine pulled out 4 pieces of paper and passed them around. "Everyone write one compliment for each other person. We'll read them at home." They wrote in silence, the scratching of pens the only sound in the dusty art room. When they finished, they folded their notes and exchanged them solemnly, promising not to open them until they got home. That night, Jasmine sat on her bed with 3 folded notes in front of her. Her hands shook slightly as she opened the first one, from Diego. Jasmine, you're the bravest person I know. Not loud brave, but quiet brave. The kind that changes the world one small act at a time. This whole thing was your idea, and you made us all believe we could do it. Thank you for seeing the possibility in 4 shy kids. The second from Priya. I used to think being quiet meant being invisible. You showed me that gentle voices can echo the loudest. Your kindness to Ruby that first week inspired me to be kinder too. You lead with your heart, and that's the best kind of leadership. And from Liam, you have this way of making everyone feel included without saying much at all, like that first day when you sat with Diego. You didn't need words to show you cared. The world needs more people who act with such thoughtfulness. I'm proud to be your friend. Jasmine cried. Not sad tears, but the kind that come when you realize you're seen, really seen, by people who matter. The next Thursday, they all arrived at room 218 with puffy eyes and full hearts. Without discussing it, they'd all had the same emotional reaction to their compliments. So, Priya said, trying to sound businesslike through her smile, what's next? They looked at their original notebook, where Jasmine had written their mission weeks ago. They'd accomplished more than they'd dreamed. The school was transformed. Kindness had become contagious. Maybe, Liam suggested, we take it beyond school? And so the secret compliment club evolved. They started leaving notes at the public library, the grocery store, the park. Diego drew portraits of hard-working employees at local businesses. Priya created a citywide anonymous compliment system. Liam organized surprise thank you circles. Jasmine wrote letters to lonely seniors at the nursing home. But the biggest change wasn't in their school or their city. It was in themselves. Jasmine found herself raising her hand in class, her voice stronger with each passing week. Diego started sharing his art in the school gallery. Priya ran for student council and won. Liam joined the drama club and discovered he loved being on stage. They still met every Thursday in room 218, but now they talked as much as they wrote. The shy kids who'd started a revolution with silent notes had found their voices, and they used them to continue spreading kindness in every way they could. One Thursday in December, as snow began to fall outside the dusty windows of the abandoned art room, Jasmine looked at her 3 best friends. Friends she'd never have met if she hadn't been too scared to raise her hand that October morning. You know what's funny, she said. We started this club because we couldn't give compliments out loud. But really, we were just waiting for the right people to hear us. Each other, Diego said, smiling as he sketched the 4 of them sitting in their circle. Each other, they agreed. Secrets had done their job. They taught everyone to speak. Outside, the snow continued to fall on Sunnyside Middle School. Snowflakes drifted like tiny paper wings. Where lockers still received mysterious butterflies, mirrors still sprouted encouraging sticky notes, and 4 formerly shy kids had learned that sometimes the quietest voices can start the loudest revolutions. The secret compliment club never officially ended. It just spread like ripples in a pond until you couldn't tell where it started or where it stopped, which was exactly how Jasmine, Diego, Priya, and Liam wanted it. Because the best secrets, they'd learned, are the ones that don't stay secret at all. They become movements. They become change. They become the heartbeat of a community that remembers to see the good in each other. And it all started because a shy girl named Jasmine couldn't raise her hand in class, but could fold a piece of paper into a butterfly.